When a parent sees a child being triggered or responding to trauma, the main thing the parent needs to do first off is stay calm. Whenever you get to a place where they feel safe and you don't escalate with them, it brings them to a place where they can calm down. Emotions are matched with emotions. As adults, when we're in a place where we're with kids and they're afraid and they're being aggressive, and then you're responding in anger or frustration or not knowing what to do, the child can sense that. And it just increases them and causes them to continue to escalate. Well, as a parent, first off, what you need to do is when you see the trauma come up, when you see them getting triggered, stay calm. Give them words of comfort and say, hey, I see that something's really bothering you. I just want you to know that no matter what, I'm here for you. No matter what, I'm here for you to talk to. And if it is something that you feel like they just need to let that energy out, give them a place to do it. We have some kids that just want to go scream at a pillow or wants to hit a pillow. Or it's better than hitting someone else, So give them a place, a safe place to be able to let those emotions out, because sometimes they don't want to talk to you right away. So not harassing them and pestering them. So when you say, hey, I'm here for you to talk to, and they say, I don't want to talk to you, don't get offended. They're dealing with the situation. They're going through something in their life where they're not able to even identify it themselves. So they're not able to articulate to you what it is that they're going through. So instead of being offended, say, okay, that's fine. What do you need me to do for you right now? And just being there for them, walking them through that situation and being a help, even if it's just you sitting by their side, letting them have their little fit. Sometimes you just need to let them have that fit. So being there for them, sitting in the same room, even if it may be 6 feet away, you're just sitting on the floor and letting them know that you're present when they're ready. If they're asking for their own space and say, I don't want you in the room, respect that. As long as they're safe, walk out of that situation. And then when they're calm and when they're ready, maybe you can sit down and have a conversation with them. What happened? What were you feeling? But don't interrogate, because like I said, with a lot of trauma, the triggers, whoever's going through those triggers may not even know what that trigger is. They may not even know why they responded that way. And when they're getting out of that situation, they're feeling ashamed. They're feeling like they've maybe disappointed you. They're feeling like maybe they don't want me here anymore and I'm just a hard person to deal with, which starts a whole new emotion of depression, and feeling neglected and not wanted is a part of that. So, just kind of being there for them just so you can hear them out. And gather the information that you get. When these kids are going through therapy, writing down step by step, hey, this is what the trauma looked like. This is our conversation afterwards. This is what tantrum looked like. And sharing that with a therapist, and maybe both of you together can figure out what those triggers are. So the more information you can gather at the beginning, the better it is for the therapist that's involved, so that we can identify the traumas and the trigger that child has gone through. As a parent, you don't want to be that person that interrogates when they're in that situation, because they are overwhelmed already. They're mentally in a place where they can't gather their thoughts. They can't figure it out. And their body's responding and their mind is responding to something that they themselves don't understand. When you're asking questions and you're interrogating them, they get to a place of feeling more overwhelmed. They're feeling more frustrated, and that just escalates them. So as a parent, a lot of times just let them be them. Let them tell you what they want to tell you later. And it could be a conversation that you, the therapist, and them can have later on if they don't bring it up. And it's not ignoring it. And a lot of times, a lot of parents, they respond because of their own anxiety. And we have to remember, as adults, our anxiety and our fear that we're going through because of the way a child is responding, they're also afraid. So don't react with your anxiety. Don't react with that fear that you have of man, I don't know what this temper tantrum is. And when that fear comes on the inside of you, they're sensing it. So I'm asking, don't interrogate these kids, because when you interrogate them, I've seen the escalation be worse. You get them to a place they can't be de-escalated. And a lot of times that interrogation has been what's led a lot of clients to go in inpatient, because they break. And they mentally have a place where they break because they too don't know what they need to do. So create that peaceful environment, a safe environment, a place where that they're unconditionally loved, and that they know, hey, I know you're going through something, but I love you. Let me know what you need help with. Let them know, hey, I know that whatever that happened, man, that must have been hard for you. I'm here if you want to talk to me, but I just want you to know I love you, and I'm so sad that you went through that, and I'm here to help you if you need me. A lot of the parents that we've trained have been using a lot of the methods that we've taught them. And we've seen a lot of successful stories during these escalations. I've had a child that had visits with their mom, and the mom started no-showing the visits. And when this child would not see their mom show up for visits, he'd come home and he'd say he was fine. Oh, it's okay, my mom was busy, she couldn't come today. But he would come home and either run away or come home and start tearing up things in the house or try to get aggressive towards his siblings. And the parent at that point would take that child and realize, once talking to the therapist, hey, he's dealing with this and he's pretending like it's not bothering him. So give him his space. And he would have a space where it was okay for him to tear up his own things. It was okay for him to tear up some pieces of paper or pull bed sheets off the bed or push over his laundry basket or something safe where it wasn't going to hurt him. And the parent was able to get them to a place where, hey, you're safe, so I'm going to sit out here. And when you're done, you're more than welcome to come talk to me. And that parent had gotten the other siblings to go to a place where they weren't having to hear it. They weren't having to be around it. They were doing something else while she sat between both his room and where the other children were at. And when he was done doing his thing and crying, he was able to come sit down and just have a conversation with his parents saying, I miss my mom and I wish she came. And during that moment, he didn't know why he was angry. He was pretending like it was because foster mom did something or his sibling did something, and he was going to pick on whoever was around him at that point. And when she identified, hey, he's really not mad at any of us, but he's going to continue to pick on all of us, let's just give him his space to deal with it. And I think it really helped him. It helped him get past it and get through it. And it was amazing on my foster parents' part to find a safe place for him to let that out. You know, in a lot of these traumatic situations, when someone comes into it blindly, not knowing what's going on, a lot of people just judge a child based on their behavior. And they think, oh my goodness, this kid is tough, this kid is hard, oh my gosh, he's just a horrible kid. One of the benefits to having the trainings that we provide is that a foster parent is aware of behaviors that may come up. That negative behavior is not because of that child or that child is a negative kid. It's because that child is hurting. That child is going through something, and therefore the parent is able to look at that child with empathy and not frustration. And I've had families that weren't trained in this training that have come back and said, this kid is just tough. There's just nothing I can do. I mean, no matter what I do for them, they respond this way. And that's what it seems like. And, you know, foster parents have one of the toughest jobs. But what happens is when you're trained in that area with the training that we provide, these parents are able to see, you know what? It's not because they're tough. It's not because they're at a place that they're just horrible kids, but it's the tough life that they went through, that abuse that they've endured, that neglect that they've endured, and it's that fear that's on the inside of them. And so when they're able to identify that these are the things that are causing this child to respond the way they are, I think it gives them more empathy, it gives them more love, and it gives them more compassion to that approach and that child and that situation. And therefore, I think that patience inside of a parent is increased, and they're able to sit down and think through it instead of dealing with it with anger, frustration, and an impulsive response.